Let's move to Afghanistan, where the security situation has deteriorated after the establishment of the so-called Islamic Emirate by the Taliban. Several terror incidents in the country have caused a large number of deaths and injuries. People struck between the ideological conflict of two brutal forces, Taliban and ISIS, are now facing a huge economic crisis. Our report.
People in Afghanistan are living in a grave situation. In the 3 months since the Taliban took control of the country, the Islamic State has stepped up attacks across the country. The suicide attack outside of Kabul airport, suicide attacks on Shia mosques in Kunduz and Kandahar, and the attack on Sardar Muhammad Daud Hospital in Kabul were some of the major security incidents. These attacks have raised alarm bells in the West about the potential resurgence of a group that could eventually pose an international threat.
Once limited to a few provinces and Kabul, ISIL-KP now seems to be present in nearly all provinces and increasingly active. The number of attacks has increased significantly from last year to this year. In 2021, 60. So far this year, 334 attacks attributed to ISKP, or in fact claimed by ISKP. ISKP continues to target the Shiite communities. The Taliban insists that they are waging a concerted campaign against ISIL-KP, but this campaign is worrying in that it appears to rely heavily on extrajudicial detentions and killings of suspected ISIL-KP members. This is an area deserving of more attention from the international community.
The brutal terror attacks by ISIS are not the only challenge people are facing in the war-torn country. Everyday worries about food and rent are adding to the misery of regular Afghans as the economy gets crushed. A countless number of people have lost their jobs, and even more haven't received their salaries. In Kabul, hundreds of offices and businesses have shuttered. While unemployment is a problem across Afghanistan, it used to be that women could work and contribute to the family income. The fact that so many women now stay at home has only exacerbated the nation's financial woes.
100 روز به این خاطر به ما مشکل گذشت که ما معاش نداشتیم و دیگه ای که امنیت درست نبود، هنوز هم انتحاری میشه. ما به تشویش هستیم. دیگه اولادای ما هنوز هم دخترها به مکتب نمیرن، درس نیست.
The 2 decades of war in Afghanistan have taken a heavy toll on Afghan children, with extreme poverty and hunger pushing more children into child labor to support their families. Around 20% of children in the country are engaged in child labor, working all sorts of jobs such as street vendors, shoe polishers, car washers, and garbage collectors. There is no childhood in Afghanistan now. It is all about surviving and getting through the next day.
جبود رنگ میکنم دیگه. صنف 5 6 میشم سال بخیر. کار خانه داریم، هم از یک دکان سودا قرض میگیریم، به خاطر پدرم هم کار میکنه، یک برادر دیگه میاد.
Common Afghans are paying heavily for both Afghanistan's conflict and its abrupt end in Taliban victory. To abandon the Afghan people now would be a historic mistake. Urgent steps must be taken to address the looming humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan and stave off economic collapse.